Hello, everyone. I just had a conversation um, with my niece, who's also into true crime. And it just got my Chris Watts juices pumping. Just check my sound. Okay. So everything's working fine. And I don't know if you guys know, but oh boy, all these text messages trying to get me to shop. Lord knows I don't need to shop anymore. Yesterday would have been Bella's 9th birthday. Poor Bella. All three of them. My heart goes out to all three of them. Especially the girls, because they didn't choose to be in this mess. The adults, more or less, could have made better choices. But the children were just thrown in this situation. Hi, Holly. How are you? I miss you. I've been going so crazy that I haven't even had a chance to get on here. How are you? So, I was just saying that, the kids, they didn't have a choice as to whether or not, if they wanted to be a part of this entire craziness, but the adults did. And so, my heart really goes out to the children even more. No, I don't even know why I have to say this, but Shannon did not deserve to be murdered. I don't know why, everyone has to start off with that, but obviously I don't think that anyone should have been murdered. But the children are the most innocent in all of this. Holly, were you able to see that? Were you able to watch that Peacock documentary on Casey Anthony? That Casey Anthony documentary, I think I'm going to watch it again and take some notes, because I have more questions now more than ever. 10 years later, I have more questions now. And I don't really, I'm having a hard time with a lot of the stuff that she said. You haven't watched it? It's pretty lengthy, but it will keep you sitting there, I tell you that much. I have a lot of questions. Why? Why after so many years are you coming out? What is she going to gain by coming out 10 years later? And she's making these allegations about SA, and it doesn't make sense. I think that documentary was made to paint her as the victim, and then the baby was to me, kind of lost in this entire thing. And I think that that's the same thing that's happening with the Watts case. It's like no one's talking about the babies. And this baby, Bella, would have been 9 years old yesterday. That is so heartbreaking. She had such a short life. And in that short life, they experienced so much trauma. It is. It's always about SW. You don't hear about the babies. You don't hear about the medical abuse. Right. I agree. I agree. They do deserve better. Um, did you see this new thing with the house being sold on Saratoga Trail? Now, if I wanted to buy this house, let's say I just wanted to buy the house just because I like the house. I'm looking for a house and I find this house on 2825 Saratoga Trail and I want to buy it. Okay, fine. There's lots of people that buy houses and they don't care if there was a murder there or not, which I don't believe that there was a murder in that house. But anyway, the stigma that's tied to this house. If you want to buy the house, go ahead, buy the house. But then why put it on social media and start saying, yeah, I just purchased the Watts house, but please respect my privacy. Neeks Peaks does an amazing video about this very topic. This family comes in, buys the house, and of course, they're dealing with the R family, which is kind of strange to me. Um, and then they posted all over social media that they purchased this house and that it's the Watts home, but yet they want privacy. So which one is it? Do you want privacy or do you not want do you want privacy or do you want to be thrust into the limelight? And it sounds to me like they want attention. And it sounds to me that they're working with the R family so that way this case would constantly be in the forefront. It just doesn't make any sense. You don't want the attention, but yet you post it all over the internet that you just purchased the Watts family home. People are going to be driving around there forever. As long as we don't have any answers, people are going to be driving around there, snapping pictures of the house, doing all kinds of stuff. And oh, Holly, have you had a chance to look at Neeks Peaks videos? She also has this video about, I don't know the name of it. I think it's called it's something about H2O, about depriving the children of water. Yes, yes, they probably will say that it's haunted. And I think that it's just a moneymaker, just for attention, for some money. But Neeks Peaks has this video about depriving the children of water. The children are always so thirsty and they're trying to get water any way that they can. And we see Cece, she goes and she's trying to get water out of the toilet. She's trying to get water out of the sink. She's climbing on the sink. And I think I lost a couple of years of my life when I was watching that video because she's using the toilet roll, the little toilet roll holder to prop her up. And I don't know about you, but I've put toilet paper on that thing a couple times, and it didn't snap into place, and then the toilet paper goes flying. I mean, I think she's like 30 pounds on this toilet paper roll. It could have popped off, and that baby would have gotten so hurt. She would have banged her mouth on the countertop or fallen. Any number of things could have happened, but her mother is right behind her, just videotaping it. She's not even trying to help her. She's struggling because she's trying to get into the sink so she can get some water. I don't know. I don't know. What is I have so many thoughts in my head right now. That's why I'm like going all over the place right now. Um, I also feel this Casey Anthony. I don't even know if I guess we are going to have to start calling her CA because, YouTube's probably going to start preventing you from saying her name as well. But I also think that she used her kid for what she can get out of her. And then when she didn't have any use for her, she didn't. Holly, how in the world does anybody sit by and watch that? Because you know that she was posting everything on Facebook, and we're talking about SW right now. She's posting everything on Facebook. So it's not like she was doing these things low key and no one knew about it. She says it. I have my kids sleep trained. I have my kids food trained. The kids are starving. You take the baking cookies. I think they're baking Christmas cookies. Well, they're not baking cookies. She has them there as props. And they're starving. You see, when she walks away from the camera, Bella is devouring chocolate chips. Chocolate chips that they're not supposed to have, according to her. But yet she's eating them. She feeds them to them. My if I don't answer right away, is I'm on StreamYard and it's lagging. That is an amazing point. Why didn't those Huns do anything? Now, my niece, she sent me a video today, and it was on Watts. And when I saw the video, I immediately got angry because, we've been sticking around for 4 years now, and a lot of YouTube creators want you to follow a certain narrative. And so the first thing that I saw on the video was SW's best friend, NA, was so concerned about her, and she was supposed to take her to the doctor. No, she wasn't supposed to take her to the doctor. She asked her, if you need me to drive you, let me know. Obviously, SW never called her to tell her whether or not she needed her to drive her to the doctor's office. This woman didn't know anything about her at all. In the Body cam video, when she's talking to the police, she doesn't know her birthday. She doesn't know how old she is. She says she's known her for 4 years, but then she met her at Cece's first birthday. Cece had just turned 3, so I know I'm not the brightest bulb in the tree, but she just turned 3 and you met her on her first birthday. That means you only knew her for about 2 years. I can't stand when people want to pretend that NA is this big hero. A hero of what? NA knows more stuff than she's letting people to believe. We see her on body cam. We see her going in and out of the master suite. We see Officer Coonrod searching up and down that house. Purse is nowhere around. And then all of a sudden, when they go back downstairs, presto, the purse appears. You ain't lying, girl. I bet you her friends all talked about her behind her back. I think they didn't care about this woman. They did not care about her. They just wanted to make a sale, and they're still making money off of SW and those girls' backs, especially NA. You see, Cassie doesn't even sell Thrive anymore. Um, and I think she was one of the ringleaders. She doesn't even sell Thrive anymore. NA, every time you see her, she's crying. I wonder why. Is she always crying? Why is she always crying? What do you know? What's this coincidence that they found the purse? They found the phone. 2 days later, the watch is under the couch cushions. And what's up with CM? Where is he hiding these days? Do you I'm so sorry that we did a whole live together, and it was a really, really great live, Holly. And I ended up destroying it with my wonderful editing skills. But we had a really good discussion. This is just so crazy. I keep going back and forth with Casey Anthony and the Watts because I don't understand how Casey Anthony didn't report her child missing for 31 days. And she is saying that, oh, her father said that he will take care of everything. So she was under the impression that her daughter was alive and well for this entire 31 days. That's so bullshit. That's bullshit. And we all know it. Come on. I want to know why no one actually brought up the fact that SW's kids was being abused medically. Why are they getting lost in this case? All I ever hear is SW was a great businesswoman. She was phenomenal at sales, top of her sales. top of the sales in Longmont Ford, top of the sales at Thrive. She was just an amazing salesperson. But yet, there was like, what, $60,000 worth of Thrive in their basement? Not to mention LuLaRoe, It Works, Monet, Young Living, Amway, 31 Bags. How is she a great salesperson? And why is she the only one that's being looked at as a victim in this case? There's children involved in here in this case, and they're focusing on her. Same thing with Casey Anthony. This docuseries, if you get a chance to watch it, it focuses on the mother. It doesn't focus on the baby. I do too. Do you notice? Did you get a chance? Did you get a chance? Well, for if there's anybody that's listening, because I know that I listen to a lot of YouTube and I don't get a chance to actually read the comments. So I'm going to read your comment. I get so weirded out when I see Frank Sr. wearing the Thrive patches still in interviews. Okay. Did you get a chance to watch that news interview in the kitchen at Saratoga Trail? I want to say in May. He's in the kitchen. Mind you, no one was paying the mortgage on this house for 4 years. Then all of a sudden, he goes there and he has complete access to this house, even though nobody has been paying the mortgage. And he's in the kitchen with an entire news crew with a Rest in Peace shirt on with the picture of his daughter and the two girls, and a Black Label patch on his arm. It's just so weird. As soon as the case starts to like die down and people start losing interest, he pops back up and then has the audacity to say that it's the YouTube creators that are thrusting him into the limelight. Not that he's seeking attention. It's that we're throwing him back into the limelight. It's so strange. I wonder why Mama Roo doesn't wear Thrive patches. I know that there were some YouTube creators yesterday doing doing a show on this case. And some people were talking about NK and how they think that she plays a major role in this case. And then other creators were talking about how it was debunked years ago in 2018 that she didn't have anything to do with the case. I'm kind of on the fence on both of those things as well, because, yeah, I think that if I were upset with somebody, I would delete them from my phone. But at the same token, How don't you remember the 111-minute phone call that you had the night before? You remember everything else from 2 months prior, right down to the credit card that he used and the color it was, and you remembered these details about everything and anything, but all of a sudden you don't remember a phone call that was 111 minutes the night before? And then she's having these interviews with law enforcement, and they're on first name basis. Even Daddy Kessinger was on first name basis with the FBI. I think she knows something. She definitely knows something. I think NA knows something. I think NA's son definitely knows something. And these children will never have justice as long as everyone just stays quiet and just allows people to follow that narrative that, oh, it was cut and dry. Chris had an affair while his wife was out visiting her parents. Yeah, for 6 weeks. Yeah. Who leaves their husband for 6 weeks, first of all, and takes the children for no apparent reason? And so they want you to believe that during those 6 weeks, he had an affair. He loved his life so much now that he's going to out his entire family so he can live happily ever after with his new love. Who's going to live happily ever after you murdered your wife and your children? I don't think he was that stupid, because he would never have been able to live happily ever after with NK. And what are the coincidence that NA was Mama Rue's boss, the girl McMahon, Amanda McMahon, the Tinder date, the pretend Tinder date, also worked for NA. Then, we've got Trent Bolt with the big lips. They're all tied together. One thing that I've seen, I don't know if you've seen this, Holly. I've seen a lot of videos of people bashing SW. Now, do I like SW? I don't like the things that she did to her children. I don't like the things that she did to her husband. I don't like the fact that she was scamming people out of money to sell her MLMs. But what I really, really don't like is someone talking bad about her that has nothing to do with the case. Like, if you're going to talk about the case, talk about the case, um, talking about her eyebrows. That has nothing to do with this case. Her nails. That has nothing to do with this case. You know what? I think so too. I never believed that NA was a caregiver, but I believe that, yes. I think that because she even asked her, "If my daughter needed you, would you be there for her?" And so I think that she used her to check up on her, yes, to be a spy. Another great point. I believe that the mother daughter relationship was very troubled and SR was likely horrible to SW. I agree a million percent. If you look at Mama Rue's YouTube channel, she has a cooking channel. But, behind all the cooking, you have to throw in the daughter there so that way you can get more clicks and views and likes. She has one video, it's entitled My Faith. And she starts telling this story about how she was always sick and all this other stuff. So it seems kind of like a generational curse. Like all this stuff is just passed down from generation to generation. In my opinion, I think that SR, her parents were always sick and always made her to be sick. And then SR did the same thing with SW. And then SW is doing that with Bella and Cece. It just keeps going from generation to generation. And the more you're sick, the more attention you get. And we all see the autopsies show they were all healthy. There was no lupus. There was no asthma. There was nothing. I I really need to start there's somebody else watching in chat, but they're not talking. I see that there's two people here. Let me see. Let me go here. I need to get to a point where there are a bunch of chatters so we can have those really long lives. I can't even see myself on YouTube. Huh. Have you been do you know about there's another case. Oh my goodness, Sarah Boone, the suitcase killer. That case should be going to trial soon. And then that Idaho 4 is getting stranger by the second as well. Give me 1 second. So Holly, who do you think committed these murders? Do you think it was Chris Watts? Some creators say that it was a suicide. I don't believe that. What do you think? Do you think Chris Watts did it? I I keep going back and forth with who did it. I could see them getting into a big fight and him snapping and killing her. Or let me not say that word, unaliving her. Um, I don't see him hurting those children. I just don't see it. I mean, I could be wrong, but I just don't see it. He seems to be so loving when it comes to the children. Um, but what I think is that this goes back to Dirty South. I think this goes back to Dirty South. I think that she mysteriously pops up with all this money, buys that beautiful house on 1000 Peninsula Drive. And then from one second to the next, she has to bounce. She has to run away. Her house gets broken into a couple of times. She leaves so fast that she leaves most of the furnishings behind. Furnishings that she didn't pay for, by the way. She leaves them behind and leaves it for the new owner, and then moves to Colorado. Oh boy. Shh. No. And then I think that what happens is that she goes to Colorado. We see in her videos that no. I'm sorry. My dog's barking right next to me. Heavens forbid. Ah! Give me 1 second. 1 second. I have to take this 1 second. I'm sorry about that. My husband just called me. I think that that when she went to Colorado, she was still in close contact with Hisham, because you can see when she's reading her comments, she actually says his name, and you can see her entire demeanor change when he posts something on her live feeds. And what better motive than money? Money is a motivator for a lot of people. I just don't see it. And I don't see how you have more than one crime scene. First it's the house, oh, then it's not the house, then it's the oil site. I mean, law enforcement can't get their stories straight. The oil site's no longer there. The DNA has been destroyed after a year. You tell him to take a plea deal to save his life because he's going to get the death penalty, when we all know that that was never going to happen. This case is it's just baffling. I don't understand it. And why is it that NA was one of the last people to see SW alive, but yet they didn't investigate her? They didn't investigate her at all because she was the savior. I don't know, more and more you see crimes with children, and the children are thrown under the rug somehow. I don't understand it. There's so many people like that Alexis Sharkey. There's a bunch of people that have been tied to an MLM and ended up murdered. They want to portray this perfect life, and it's far from perfect. But in order to have this perfect life, you have to pay for that stage. Like, did that house even look like it was being occupied by children, ages 3 and 5? That house did not look like it was being occupied by any children. Just like the house on Peninsula Drive. It didn't even look like that house was even lived in. It's just a stage to sell your crappy MLMs that don't work. So that way people could want to have that life that you have. But little did we know that life that she had was awful. Holly, the house was so sad. Which house? The one on Saratoga Trail. That house was scary looking from the outside. Yeah, and you notice that she didn't have any furniture in her dining room. She sold it. Once upon a time, there was furniture in that dining room. It was gray. It was gray chairs, I believe, with a glass table. I have to look through my stuff. And then they sold it. They had no money. But yet they were going on all these trips. Trips that they couldn't even afford. I believe that too. I think that the house in North Carolina was gorgeous. It was. Um, but what 25-year-old has that much money? Because you'll see in the one of the last videos that she makes where she has that Lavender Thrive shirt on, and she gets all upset because the kids are playing and they're making too much noise for her. So she goes out on the back porch and she says, "I busted my tail." What 25-year-old has that much money to build a house from the ground up like that? And that house was a lot nicer than the one on Saratoga Trail. The one on Saratoga Trail is a little eerie for me. I don't know if it's because I've seen that house post the murders. I never saw that house before the murder, so I don't know if that kind of clouds my judgment a little bit. Now I look at that house and I'm like, ew. The house was beautiful on the inside, but on the outside, it was just, it stands out from all the other houses on Saratoga Trail. It's so big. It's right smack dab in the middle of Steeple Rock Lane and Saratoga Trail. Um, and I'm almost wondering if she actually wanted the house built right there for the attention, because there's no way you don't see that house when you're driving down Steeple Rock. It's like, hello, I'm right here. And it looks just so haunting. I don't believe that there's any spirits or anything in that house. But the house is just kind of strange looking. The colors are so dark, and I don't know, maybe if the house is painted a lighter color, maybe I'd like it because there are other houses in the neighborhood that are that same style, but that one just looks weird. It just looks so cold and ugh. I don't know. And you know what's so funny is that Frankie Jr., he says, "My sister made $500,000 a year." Have you guys seen the way that those people live? They live in this modest house, nothing fancy. She was making a $500,000 a year. Why were they living in this tiny house? Why were they living in an unfurnished basement? You think CW is slow? Is that what you're saying? That CW was slow? I think that he is. I think that he's an introvert. I think that he's on the spectrum. Oh, you're talking about Frank Jr. I don't know about Frank Jr. The jury is still out with Frank Jr. I think that Frank Jr. is a grifter. But CW, I think that he's somewhere on the spectrum. I think that if he's pushed into a corner, he's not confrontational at all. And everyone will tell you that he's never had a fight, he's never had a disagreement with anyone. He just goes with the flow. He's very agreeable. He'll basically do whatever it is that you want him to do. And SW says that. He does what I say. So if you want me to do a facial on him, just let me know. I'll make him do it. He does everything that I say. So if somebody tells him what to say regarding this crime, he's saying it. He says whatever they tell him. F Jr., I think, is a user. I think he's a grifter. I think that he will use the death of his sister and his two nieces, as long as he can so he can get some money. Yes, and the fact that he has a lupus tattoo, and did you hear what he said? "Oh, I got the lupus tattoo by my ribs, or no, by my heart, because I wanted to feel the pain that you're feeling." Well, what pain was she feeling? Because she didn't have lupus. She didn't have lupus, and the autopsy shows that she didn't have lupus. If she had lupus, her organs would have been affected. They would have been affected in some way. Her kidneys would have been affected. She had nothing wrong with her. She had a gallstone, a very small gallstone. That's all she had. So why people are getting lupus tattoos and wearing these lupus bracelets and doing these lupus fundraisers, it's a scam. It was a big scam. I agree 1,000,000%. Junior and SW, both grifters, they had to learn it somewhere. Well, she was doing Amway way before she met CW. I believe she was doing Amway when she was married to Leonard King. Um, you know, Mama Ruth says, they come from a long line of contractors. In my opinion, I think they come from a long line of scammers. And then, you have this pretend lupus and stuff, and now you're saying that you're cured because you put on a coffee coated patch. and now you're cured. And so now, of course, people are going to want to buy this damn thing, this $150 three-step program, because people like myself, and this is another reason why this case pisses me off so much, is that I have fibromyalgia. And there are days that I can't get out of bed because I'm so stiff. There are days that I can't move my head from left to right because I'm so stiff. Not once has my doctor offered me neck surgery, by the way. I've I've been getting Botox injections in my neck to loosen up the tight muscles. And my nerves are just so overactive that something that might not hurt you will just it's just debilitating for me. So I have to cancel plans at the last minute. I never know how I'm going to feel from day to day. And so for somebody to say they have fibromyalgia, Sjogren's, celiac disease, lupus, you name it, but never had a problem going to a concert, never had a problem with going on trips, never had a problem soaking in the sun, never had a problem when it came to things like that. And people who have lupus do not sunbathe. Always in the sun. Always in the sun. So it's offensive for someone like myself who suffers from chronic pain. That's another reason why I haven't really been on YouTube. I mean, when did we do that live together, Holly? I think it's been probably about a month now. I haven't been going on because since it's getting cold where I live, my joints are achy, my neck is so stiff, and it's hard to sit down in front of a computer for hours and hours at a time just reading, much less doing research. I don't understand how those people do that. Just use those deaths to their advantage. Let's see. I truly believe she would have transitioned poor Bella. JT would have encouraged and helped. I saw her Facebook page. She's all into all that. Who's JT? Do you want to come up? Do you want to come on panel? She was already saying Bella looked like a, oh, yes. Well, you know why I think that Bella looked like a little boy is because in cases of Munchausen by proxy, I don't know who that is, JD. I'm having a brain fart. But like the case with Gypsy Rose Blanchard, her mother cut her hair so that way it could give the illusion that she was suffering from cancer. I think that that's exactly what SW was doing is that she was cutting Bella's hair so often. Okay, I know. Okay, deep. Okay, great. I'm sorry. I don't know why I didn't even think of that. Yeah. Um, I think that she was trying to make her look sickly. by cutting her hair over and over and over again. How she was thinking about this familial Mediterranean, am I saying it right? You know, the she's trying, what is that disease that she was trying to get these kids diagnosed with? A Mediterranean fever, familial Mediterranean fever. Um, and she was making them do daily rectal temperatures to the point where it actually becomes natural or normal for Bella, because she actually brings her the thermometer at one time and she goes, I need to take my temperature. And she has a thermometer behind her back. And then she asks her, what's wrong with you today? She's like, I don't feel well. She's like, oh, yeah, what's wrong with you? My eyes hurt. Oh, yeah, your eyes hurt? What else? Uh, my knees hurt. Oh, yeah, what else? I have a tummy ache. Oh, yeah, what else? I'm dizzy. What for? At that time, she was around 4. What 4-year-old knows what being dizzy is? It's like she was, you know, prepping her to say these things. And why is it that Bella, Bella looked malnourished and Cece was nice and plumpy? They were almost the same weight. You're right. You're right. No one called her out. No one said a thing. Did you see when they're outside and they're waiting to see Santa? Santa's coming around in the fire truck and she's doing a live, of course. She just finished doing a live earlier that day saying that she had just got back from the emergency checkup and the kids had pneumonia and all kinds of stuff. But then she takes them outside in the freezing cold to go see Santa. And then she's like, oh, I gave him lots of Tylenol. I gave him prednisone. I gave him this. I gave him that. And then I'm assuming somebody said something because then she caught herself and she's like, well, not lots of Tylenol. You know what I mean. But NA knew about the medication that was being given. Uh, a lot of those people, CM from Hawaii, knew about the medication. Why in the hell were these kids taking so much medication and they didn't even have asthma? How do two children have surgery on the same day for the same thing? And those kids were always coughing, Holly. They were always coughing really, really bad. And I think it's because she was sticking Young Living oil in those nebulizers. As I get older, like I love perfume. I've always been big with perfume and candles and having my house smell good. And I'd have this infuser like she had in her bathroom. And when I started using these essential oils in my house, I started coughing a lot more. And I didn't realize that it was the essential oils that was making me cough. You put that crap inside of someone's nebulizer? But see, that's a thing that's also another MLM. Young Living, doTERRA, top essential oils distributor, which she was a part of. They also try to make you believe that if you just ingest these essential oils, that you will be cured of stuff. And no, that's not true. You could do so much damage. Do you want me to drop a link? I'm going to drop the link in case you want to come up, honey. I wish we could get like a whole crew on here so we can have a huge discussion because, we have been part of Warts Island for a really, really long time. Oh, and by the way, Tabitha Jane, oh, you can't right now. Okay, that's no problem. You're at the grocery store and you are chatting with me? Girl, talk about multitasking. I love it. I love it. I just hope that you are not hungry because if you go into the grocery store and you're hungry, you start buying stuff that you have no business buying. I know that I bought like $400 worth of crap that I didn't need. And I think like most of it was snacks because I was starving the last time I went to the supermarket. So I hope you are at the grocery store with a full tummy because oh boy. What about the allergies? These pretend allergies that these children had. I don't know if I spoke about this in one of my last videos, but they're always buying, oh, I think I did. She would always buy those chicken fingers or chicken nuggets from Tyson. And they're made in a facility that processes tree nuts, just like the Pro Bars. She would always buy these huge tubs of Jif peanut butter, and she would make Pro Bites with them. The kids are eating chocolate chips, Nestle Toll House chocolate chips. I mean, if you're so worried about cross-contamination and allergies, I don't know. She even has brownie mix in the pantry. Duncan Hines brownie mix. It's just it's bull. It's bull. And I think that if someone would have just opened their mouth and said something, those girls would probably be here. Or at the very least, maybe those girls wouldn't have had to suffer the things that they suffered in their short life. Like all these doctor's appointments, all these unnecessary biopsies, and children should not have to spend all of their time in a doctor's office. And it was never really at a doctor's office. It was always like in the emergency room somewhere. So if those children, if she was such a doting mom and she was so worried about everything that her kids have come across as far as food, as far as allergies, and she wants to take care of them, why didn't she take care of her unborn baby? Why didn't she go seek medical attention for that baby? Why didn't that baby make the cut? If you're so worried about the health of your children and you're so excited to have this baby, why didn't that baby get one prenatal visit? Not one prenatal visit. Every prenatal visit that she had scheduled, she canceled. And when she came back from North Carolina, she was home for a couple of days and still went back out to Arizona. The baby never had a checkup. So, how do we even know if this baby was healthy? We don't even know if this baby was even alive on the date of the murders. Because remember, she says that she's cramping and spotting. And one of her friends said, "You should go to the emergency room." And she says, "I can't. It's out of network." What? What? I'm going to do what Lana does. What? The emergency room is not out of network. And I'm sorry, you spend so much money on bullshit, on trips, on your nails, on all your MLMs. If that were the case, that the emergency room was out of network, and let's say for the sake of argument that she would have to pay out of pocket. Number one, in the US, you cannot be turned away for inability to pay. Absolutely unheard of. So at best, they'll send you a bill, right? To me, that would be a small price to pay. Pay off your emergency room bill if you have to. It would be cheaper than all the money that she's spending on all those MLMs every month. Yes, 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 yes. Her baby registry was for a girl. But the narrative that Mama Ru wants to paint is that she was having a boy. And there was a post, I believe Mensa posted it. No, it wasn't Mensa. Mensa was talking about it. It was straight up. Set the record straight. He posted a post of FR Jr. He said something to the effect of, my sister and my nieces were murdered, and we just found out that she was having a little boy. just found out they were having a little boy. But yet her baby registry was for a girl. It's still up. It's on Amazon. She has an Amazon baby registry. It's for a girl. Absolutely. She was making that trip. She had a Groupon trip. And that's another thing that pisses me off is that when you look at the news, the media will have you believe that, oh, Chris Watts was searching trips to take his mistress. No, he was trying, she sent him a bunch of Groupons. She wanted them to go to Aspen so that way they can reconnect. But you're spending money on a trip to go to Aspen so that way you and your husband can reconnect. But you haven't gone to the doctor to check on your baby, especially if you were cramping and spotting. I wouldn't want to go anywhere until I checked out the health of my baby. It just doesn't make sense. And then the media wants you to believe that he was contacting the realtor. And that's not true. He wasn't contacting the realtor. She had contacted the realtor. And the realtor was writing back to them in a group chat. But they don't want you to know that. They want you to think, oh, he killed her. No, he unalived her. Oh, God, I hope I don't get in trouble. The media wants you to believe that he ended her life and then put the house up for sale and was looking for a trip to take his mistress. That's not true. The trip was planned by her. The selling of the house was planned by her. They couldn't even afford that house. They weren't even paying that house. And then what happened to the $10,000? Where is that $10,000? Did she take it and spend it on more Thrive? I agree with you 100%. The baby was a means to an end, just like everything else for SW. I think so too. I think that she saw her husband slipping away. I think that she didn't bank on him ever getting tired of the way that he was being treated. I don't think that she banked on him getting tired of what she was doing to the children. I think that when she realized that her husband was slipping away, she ends up pregnant. And she goes and she speaks, she practically interrogates that attorney. His name is Hamza. I don't know what his last name is, at the hibachi place. She realizes that he's an attorney and she just keeps talking to him the entire night, grilling him on child custody and who would be able to, can the person who has custody leave the state? I mean, she's grilling him and grilling him and grilling him, which is so odd because if I bumped into you at a hibachi place and you tell me that you're an attorney, yeah, I might ask a question or two, but I mean the entire night. And then she turns up pregnant. I don't believe she even liked kids at all. She just needed them for her overworked mom image for the MLM. Yes. I don't think that she liked the children. I think that well, you know what? Let me rephrase that. And I know you're not going to agree with me here. Let me just take a sip. I don't know if it's that she didn't like the children. I think in her own warped little way, she liked them and loved them, but I think that she was unable to tolerate the noise that children make because you can see it. You can see it when she's making live videos and the children make any noise. She has to get up and remove herself. She can't stand the noise. I mean, it could be that, I mean, I know for a fact that she used those kids as a prop because no one would really watch her videos if the kids weren't in them. And that's something that a lot of MLMers do. Like if you see NA, she uses her child. If you see CM from Hawaii, she uses her kid. I mean, they always throw their children in the mix. So that way, I guess it sells better. Yes, and you're right. She did love when the kids were at daycare. She says, I love this job because it gives me the freedom to be with my children, but you weren't with your children. Your children were at daycare. As soon as the parents went back to North Carolina, when they moved out, that's when the kids started going to daycare. And they were in daycare all day long. Again, I really don't want to say that she didn't love her children and but I think that she was overwhelmed. I think that she didn't know how to handle them. I think that she was emotionally stunted. I don't think that she had any business having children. I think she wanted them really, really bad. And it's kind of like when you have a toy, you buy a kid a toy and they love it for like the first few minutes. And then before you know it, they get sick of it and they toss them to the side. That's what I think that she did. I think she liked the cutesy part of them and dressing them up. And look at the way that she dressed Cece. Cece always had on such cute outfits and she could put her hair up in these crazy tight ponytails that could rip her hair out. I mean, I don't know, this kid would probably have like massive headaches how tight those ponytails were. I think that she liked that part of it. But then when it came down to dealing with colds and coughs and crankiness, she didn't like that part of motherhood, if that makes any sense. Right, exactly. She had no instinct. Imagine how bad her childhood was. Well, if you go to Mama Ruth's channel, she has a video called My Faith, and she talks about how her childhood was just like the way those children's childhood was. So Mama Ru was always telling SW, oh, those kids have asthma. Oh, you need to fire that doctor. It was just like passed down from generation to generation. I think that SW's childhood was just like that. I think that Mama Ruth's childhood was just like that, and the generations before her. And it's a generational curse. And from what we understand, Mama Ru and SW didn't get along. So it wasn't, oh my goodness, my cat is behind me and he's sleeping. He's snoring so loud. Can you hear it? So I don't think that either one of them, Mama Ru or SW, could deal with the day-to-day struggles of being a parent. Is all nice when you want to dress them up and you want to take pictures and all that other stuff and use them to sell your products, but then after you're done with them, then you don't want anything to do with them. When they're not selling your product, you don't want them to ask for water. You want to stick them in their room to sleep for 12 hours and go to school or daycare for 9, 10 hours. Like, when was she actually around these kids? You can see in the cookie video how frustrated she's getting. She's paying attention to her phone, looking at the live comments, and the kids want to interact, and she's pulling the bowls away from them, and they get so frustrated they start crying because they don't know what part do they play in this play here. They're so confused. They don't know what to do. And then she's like, "Oh, I don't even know why I started alive." She gets angry. I think that she was overwhelmed and didn't know what to do. No truer words have ever been spoken. I think SW felt very empty. She should have given her family, husband, and kids a chance and turned the cameras off. I couldn't have said that better myself. Go camping, go to church, paint. Well, you know what she did? No, Coco, no. She had them do vision boards, of course. Not because she wanted Bella to set goals for herself, but doing the vision boards were so she can sell her product, because that's what they tell you to do, is do vision boards. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Bella had food on her vision board, and she said she wanted to play with mommy and daddy. That's what that little baby was craving, attention from her mother and father. Isn't that terrible? And it looked like when they went to North Carolina for those 6 weeks, they were treated so well by the grandparents. I don't agree with half the shit that the R's do, but you can see the children, they were filling out, their hair was growing, they looked like they had some sun, they were playing, they were happy. When they're with the Watts side of the family, you see them in the bed with Cindy, reading a book. The 5 little monkeys jumping on the bed, and you hear how loud Bella is. Any other time, Bella's really soft and quiet, and she only repeats what her mom tells her to say, and she's not really comfortable. She's like Chris. But then when she gets with Cindy, it's like she's so confident, and she starts, "One little monkey jumping on the bed," and she's so loud and so happy and so comfortable. Then you see the trampoline video. One of the reasons why I haven't been doing any reaction videos is because I'm not computer savvy here. I haven't figured out how I can stream some of the videos without getting copyright stricken. But the video that I'm talking about is the trampoline video, where Bella and Cece are on the trampoline with Ronnie Watts, and they're having such a good time. And then all of a sudden, SW says, "Oh, no, no, no. Bella can't." And Bella looks at her and she plops down and doesn't move because she has to comply with everything SW says. So you're sick? Oh, I got to be sick. Oh, your legs hurt? My leg, I can't jump. She was having a great time until SW said she can't jump anymore. And she sat down. I think that is disgusting. Yes, those kids started becoming healthy. Their hair was growing. They were actually outside in the sun. They were running through the rain. They went to the beach. They were experiencing so many things that they had never experienced in their young little lives. And then they were just taken. That is so heartbreaking. Imagine how scared Bella was in the car after the Nutgate incident. Bella probably thought it was her fault. Oh, Nutgate. Yeah, those kids. Well, Cindy Watts says that they were hiding behind the curtain because they wanted to stay with their cousins. They were having a blast until SW flipped shit. But yet, Frankie Jr. had a bag of pistachios in his room. There was no Nutgate there. And nuts all over the place, razor blades all over the place. Now, in studying this case for 4 years plus, that SW, if she had a booger on the tip of her nose, she'd put it online. I mean, she has pictures online with the kids, bare bottoms showing, trying to stick things up their butts, trying to stick things up the dolls' butts. I mean, real inappropriate pictures. She took pictures for everything and posted it on Facebook. Don't you think that if Nutgate really was something, that she would have taken pictures of all the nuts and the razor blades and everything that was around the house? Because she was all about receipts, right? You didn't know about the bag of pistachios? Oh, girl. So when Frankie Jr. gets interviewed, he says that he had an open bag of pistachios in his room and that she said, "Oh, you can't have this. You know, the kids are allergic." And he put it away. So I don't get it. So if one person has pistachios, it's okay. But if the other side of the family has pistachios, it's attempted murder. It doesn't make any sense. And then, of course, she had to put this huge, like 20-page rant on Facebook about how her mother in law tried to unalive her children. I mean, that happened right before Cece's birthday party. Would you go to that birthday party? I wouldn't go to that birthday party if you just accused me of trying to hurt your children, much less try to unalive them. I agree with you. I think that she did hate Cindy. She was always she I think she hated the Watts, period, because they were around Jamie's kids more. I mean, so obviously they're going to be closer with Jamie's kids because they lived in North Carolina. You moved to Colorado. So, of course, they're going to be closer to the children that are there all the time. And she always said it. Oh, Jamie's the golden child. Oh, they love the other children more than my kids. Right. It couldn't be that everybody just loved one another and they had a nice visit. It was competition. You know, how dare you love or spend more time with Jamie's kids? Now I'm here. It's supposed to be all about me and my kids. Why couldn't they all just play together? And that constantly deleting them off of Facebook or blocking them. And then when you want to get them back into your good graces, then you send them a picture of a sonogram. I mean, that's how they found out that she was pregnant with Bella, is that she sent them a picture of a sonogram. They weren't even speaking. Shanann Watts didn't make it easy either. Plus, taking pics of the young boy underwater just awkward. That is weird. You know, I heard about that for the longest, and I never was able to get my hands on that picture because, you know, they scrub everything. But I saw it, and I thought that was, I think Neeks Peaks posted that. That was weird to the 10th power. Or when she says, when she was babysitting for the former nurse friend of hers, and she said she went to go change his diaper, and you know, I don't have to spell it out, but his he I think he pulled his diaper down and then he said, "I love you." That's so weird. That is so weird. Oh my goodness. And she had this thing for like butts, poop. I don't know. It was just like so inappropriate. Did you ever see that video with the girls going to the sprinkler pad and they're bending over in front of the water to have the stream of water go up their butts? That is such a cringy video. I can't even watch it today because it's so cringy. It just screams that something was wrong. And I believe that video is still up. And if the R's wanted to paint this narrative that their daughter was all holy and sanctified and just so wonderful, that would have been the first video I would have taken down because that video is cringy. Everything in me screams out abuse when I see that video. Hello, Shireen. How are you? Yeah, that behavior is cringy. It is, oh, that would have been the first video I would have taken down if I was trying to make my daughter look pristine and make her look like the best mother in the universe. That would have been one of the first videos I would have taken down. I would not have those pictures of my daughter trying to put those little, I keep forgetting the name of those little things, those little wind dixies, are they called? To help relieve the gas from an infant, not a toddler, not a 3-year-old, not a 4-year-old, not a 5-year-old. Those are for infants. I would not have a picture of my daughter putting those on her fingers and trying to shove them up the doll's butt. It screams, oh, such dysfunction. What? What? I would have a sit down with my child. If my child was exhibiting those types of behavior, I would have to sit down with them and have a talk, because that kind of behavior says that something is wrong. When she comes up and says, I need to take my temperature, wispies, is that what they're called? They have them on Amazon, honey. They have those things on Amazon. Um, but if I would have seen Bella hiding the thermometer behind my back, and she's like, "Well, I need to take my temperature." I mean, that actually became normal for her. That's terrible. I think the only time that I ever took a rectal temp from one of my children is when they were infants. And now you don't even need to do that. Now they have those thermometers that you just like, has a trigger, you point it at their forehead and you can take it's non-invasive. I mean, sticking something in a child's rectum is painful. Now, a 3, 4, and 5-year old, it's terrible. And then doing it multiple times a day, every single day. So then they take those rectal temps every day, and now they carry it over to the water park. And now they're bending over in front of the stream because they were used to, in my opinion, used to those rectal temps. It was like normal to them. So they didn't see anything wrong with it because it was done every day. It was their norm. The Vaseline, again. Yeah, I'm sure. Well, who knows? Nurse Nai. Who knows if, I mean, you could hurt a child if you don't do that properly. And the Vaseline, that's, in my opinion, that's what the Vaseline was for. What else do you need big, huge tubs of Vaseline in the bathroom for? If not for the rectal temperature taking. I agree, Shireen. It's, no one wants to talk about that. No one wants to talk about that. Oh, you didn't see the water park? You didn't see the water park video? I actually think that that one is still on her Facebook page. You gotta go through a lot of it. Um, or I'm sure one of these YouTube creators have that video up. There, it's like I don't know if you call it a water pad, but it's like these streams of water coming from the ground. And what they do is they go up to the stream and they bend down and put their behinds into the stream of water. And they keep doing it over and over again. And she's videotaping it. At no point does she correct the behavior. She's letting them do it. I believe Chris tries to pull one of them out, but they did just keep doing it over and over again. It's so cringy. I have to warn you, Shireen, if you haven't seen that video, you need to brace yourself for it. Expect to get pissed because it is very cringy. Just like, the videos with Cece climbing on the toilet dispenser to prop herself up so she can get into the sink. I was literally holding my breath while I was watching that video because I'm like, oh my God, this baby's gonna fall. And I like wanted to grab her, but her mom's standing there with the phone, just videotaping it. Like, what the fuck? I'm like getting pissed off just thinking about it. Yeah, I actually think that that video is still up. You know what? There's a creator, also her name is Meredith's Two Cents. She's pretty good and she does a lot of video reactions. I think she has that up. I gotta look for it. I believe that water video is still up. And some people think I think the R's think that that shit's cute, but that is not cute at all. That is not cute at all. Yeah, it's heartbreaking, Shireen. It's so heartbreaking. These kids, all they wanted, all they wanted was some attention from mommy. And it's obvious they got the attention from daddy because you always see him with them. He's got one of them on his hip all the time, mostly Cece. He has Cece on his hip all the time. He's always doing things with the kids. Um, in that last video that she posted right before she was going to North Carolina, you see him sitting on the floor playing with Bella, right on the floor. He's playing. He's always involved with the children. And I don't understand why she couldn't give them that attention. Oh, Justin did a video. I like Justin. He's been gone, dealing with some family issues from what I gather. But yeah, he does some really good reaction videos as well. You guys got to check Neek's Peaks out because she just, whoo! Neek's Peaks is amazing. She really breaks it down for you. The videos aren't too long. And you got to watch Tabitha Jane's video on the bankruptcy. Oh boy, does she break it down. And by the way, I meant to say Tabitha just had her shoulder surgery. She's resting. I know she'd want me to let everybody know that she's gonna be back as soon as she can. She had her she had her shoulder surgery. Say that a few times. She had her shoulder. Why can't I speak today? What in the world? She had the soul. The more I try to say it, the worse it becomes. She had her surgery on her shoulder. And so she's going to have, a little bit of a recovery. She's going to have to do some physical therapy and stuff, but I'm trying not to bother her. I'm trying to let her rest. But from what I understand, everything went well. I, I, I agree. I agree. He was the better parent. He was the one that was involved. Why did he have to come home from work and then go and pick up the children? If she was at home, remember, she keeps saying that she loved selling Thrive because it allowed her to be where her children were, but she was never where her children were because her children were not home. Her children were in daycare. And then when their daycare day was over, she didn't even go and pick them up. He had to pick them up after a long day of work. And I think that also plays a part in all the craziness in North Carolina because they were not in daycare anymore. Yeah, she actually had to watch her own kids for 6 weeks. And I don't think that she liked that part of parenting. And I think that's how Nutgate was born. I don't think that she wanted to deal with those kids. And those kids had meltdowns quite often. He appeared to have empathy for the kids and was attentive and calm. Yes, he really was the attentive one. And what about the Christmas video? That Christmas video is cringy too. They were crying because they wanted their daddy. They didn't want Santa. They wanted their daddy. And they were hysterical because daddy wasn't around. And this is a great point here. Why did he have to take time off when the girls were sick? Some people say that he had to take time off from work because she wasn't allowed with the children alone. I don't know if I believe that. I think that, in my opinion, I think the reason why he had to take time off of work when they were sick is because she didn't want to take care of them. She wanted to make videos all day. She didn't want to have to deal with that part of parenting. So if the kids got sick, you take care of it, Chris. I'm not doing it. I got to sell my MLMs. And that's another thing. I think she would have let him be a master mechanic because he enjoyed it. She wouldn't. I think she thought that job was demeaning. Because have you guys read that 10-page letter that Mama Rue wrote to Detective Baumhaber? He said he wanted to know a little bit about the family dynamic. And she writes this 10-page letter talking shit about the Watts, just talking shit. They didn't go to the wedding. They didn't do this. They didn't like her, blah, 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 blah. What the hell does that have to do with the murders is beyond me. But one thing that stands out to me is that she says that SW says, I met this really nice guy. He's a mechanic. And what does Mama Rue say? Well, as long as he's nice to you, as long as he's good to you. And then what happens? She finds him a job in the oil industry. He's making 6 figures now to making $50,000, $60,000 a year. He couldn't even have his own Mustang. He had a Mustang. Took that away. He sold his Mustang to put the down payment on that Lexus that they leased. He couldn't be a mechanic. He couldn't enjoy his cars that he liked. Shit, she made him even take a communications course while she was in North Carolina. You know what? I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I think the reason why she says I have 3 kids. Oh no. Here we go again. Give me 1 second. Yes, baby. I'm sorry, guys. That was my husband again. See, unlike somebody. I'll mute myself if I have to, because I'm not going to just say I'm doing a live and not pay attention to my family. Okay, so what in the world was I saying? About the 3 kids. I think that, and I could be wrong here, but I think that she says I have 3 kids because she's including Chris as one of the kids, because she was always emasculating him, always acting like she needed to do everything. She said he was stupid. Oh, yeah, he's such a genius. I'm the only parent. It's tough having 3 kids. That's where I'm thinking she's going. But then again, when NA calls the cops, she specifically says she went on a play date with her other 2 girls, with her other 2 daughters. That was not a slip up. She said that. So I don't know if there were other kids or if she's including Chris as a kid. I don't know. What do you guys think? I think that too, with the job as a mechanic, plus also think it was a skilled job too. He was doing what he loved, and she told him, because she loves to diagnose everyone, her children, herself, and Chris. She told him that he had carpal tunnel syndrome. She said she had carpal tunnel syndrome. That's why she couldn't send out Christmas cards that one year. I think it was 2017, because she couldn't write anymore because she had carpal tunnel, and that Chris had carpal tunnel. And that's why he had to stop doing what he was doing so he can go and work in the oil industry. They would have probably been set had he had stayed with being a mechanic. But you had to work in the oil industry. Totally agree, and agree she shouldn't be bothered. The theory she couldn't be alone with the kids is silly. CPS doesn't do all that, especially in a state like Colorado. Just I agree 1,000,000% with you. CPS, first of all, I grew up in a foster home. Part of my teenage years, I was in a foster home. So I have a little experience with CPS. Well, we don't call it CPS here. We call it something else, but they don't do all that extra shit. Okay. Our system is broken as it is. They don't have enough manpower. That is the reason why so many children fall through the cracks, because there is not enough manpower for all the children that are in the system, much less having so much manpower that you're video surveilling a family. That's bullshit. No one was I don't believe that there was a CPS case open. I don't believe that at all. I think that that's somebody reaching um just because she does have the father. Oh, he always has to escort her on the plane. But I think the reason for it is that she couldn't handle them by herself. She would refer to the children as being wild, as monsters. That was wild to her. It wasn't wild for me. That was wild for her. I think that she just couldn't handle taking them on a trip. As soon as one would start yelling and screaming, you could just see it in her face, just how uncomfortable and how overwhelmed she became. So I think that is the reason why the father would have to fly to her to escort her back and forth with the children. She was never traveling with those children alone. It was either Chris or Frank Sr. But I think that that's what it is that she just was so overwhelmed. She did not want to have to deal with it alone. Which brings me back to the point where Chris has to call out every time the kids are sick because she doesn't want to deal with it. If there was an open CPS involvement with all of these restrictions, I believe it would have come out by now due to the massive fail. Yes. And you know what? If those children were murdered on CPS's watch, do you know the lawsuits that would be filed? It doesn't make any sense. Think of the Fernando Hernandez case in California. They came up with social workers and yes. Oh, is that Fernando Hernandez or is that Gabriel? If that's the same case, the Gabriel Hernandez case, yes. That case is a prime example of a child falling through the cracks. They don't have enough manpower. They have these caseworkers that are overwhelmed with so many cases. They paid that family visits on numerous occasions, and that child ended up dying at the hands of his mother's boyfriend. And the mother just sat back and did nothing. But that case, they weren't surveilling them, I tell you that much, and they weren't escorting them back and forth on trips. Where's the money coming from? I agree with you guys, CPS case. Would they really leave them there? SW can only have an hour with them. Yeah, I don't think that if CPS deems you unfit and they want you to have supervised visitation, that's exactly what it would be. It would be supervised visitation. If they want you to have visitation for only a couple of hours, you would be in the presence of someone else. A lot of times it's usually at the CPS office or at a police station or at the home of a family member. They won't just leave somebody who has restrictions placed on them alone with the children if they deem them unfit. It doesn't make sense. She was lazy and she had CW convinced her job was so important. Yes. Oh no. One moment, please. My dog's barking. God forbid another dog walks by my door. You know, my dog thinks he owns the neighborhood. And so I have my curtains open so you can see my Christmas tree. And so he sees the dogs walking by and then he goes ape shit. Okay, so where were we? Yeah, she had Chris thinking that her job was so important and that she made so much money. If she made so much money, did you look in the basement? I'm pointing down like you guys can see me. Look in the basement and look at Coco, stop. Look in the basement and see all the MLM products. No, Coco, no. It's okay. Look at all the piles, all the bins of all the MLM stuff, specifically the Thrive. It's all in the basement. Now, I don't know if I told you guys, but I ordered Thrive. You order directly from the company. You don't order it from a sales rep. They get money, they get credits when you order under them, but you don't order the product from that specific person. So she was ordering all this Thrive so she can stay at that car bonus level, which didn't make any sense to me because she was spending more money on the Thrive than she would have if she would have just outright paid for that car note. Yeah, I knew you were talking about Gabriel Fernandez, and that's still on Netflix. So I don't know, Shireen, if you've gotten a chance to see that. It's called The Trials of Gabriel Fernandez. And that is a prime example of how children fall through the cracks because our system is a messed up system. There's not enough caseworkers for the amount of children that need help and families that need help. And a lot of times children fall through the cracks and so many bad things happen, abuse, even children being unalived because of the messed up system that we have. Yes, I watched that documentary like 4 times, and each time it just infuriates me because that teacher was trying so desperately to get help for that little boy, and the little boy he didn't get any help. It was already too late. She was reporting that little boy had patches of hair missing from his head. He had a BB gun lodged inside of him. I mean, he had bruises, everything. So can you imagine SW having an escort to go back and forth on trips and someone telling her to go on live so they can keep track of her? That shit doesn't happen, please. Plus, another child dead after the court case the CPS was looking into also. Yeah. Oh, oh, yes. Didn't NA lose custody of a child? Why would the agency choose her to be a caretaker? I don't think that she was a caretaker. I think she was a spy for the mama. And yes, that daughter was with the first husband. Do USA do police check before starting working in medical schools? Do they do a police check? I don't think they do a police check, but I know that if you're gonna go into a medical school, if you're gonna, be a nurse, you have to go before a board. I don't believe that you can have a background with CPS on you. I could be wrong. Actually, my sister-in-law is a nurse. I'm gonna ask her about that. I don't think that I think that they would give you a background check. Like, yeah, like Holly is saying it here, they do background checks. Uh, about Chris Watts never connecting the dots. I kind of think that part of me wants to say that Coco, that he was oblivious to a lot of the things that were going on because she was pretending she was a nurse, right? And so if she says, "Oh, well, I took the kids to the doctor and they need Benadryl and Tylenol and prednisone and all this other stuff," and he's not there, I would think that he's going to go by what she tells him if she's the one taking the kids to the doctor. Um, but then another part of me wants to say that he saw things but turned a blind eye to it because he didn't want to ruffle her feathers. I don't know if that makes any sense. Yeah, it's it makes you physically sick, Holly. This I have been obsessed with this case since it started. And when I tell you, I saw the sermon on the porch or sermon on the driveway, whatever the hell it is, video first. And I knew something was wrong right there because he just looked so uncomfortable. And I could understand it because, introverts don't like all that attention. So I could understand why he's uncomfortable, but the way that he was speaking about them in the past tense bothered me. Like he was talking about them as though he already knew that they were not coming back. And that bothered me. So then what I did is I immediately searched her up on Facebook. I had no clue that she was a Facebook junkie. But I looked her up and I saw the pregnancy reveal, the oops, we did it again video. And I want to do a live and dissect that video. If that is not the most staged video in this lifetime, I don't know what is. Because you see her showing her shirt, oops, we did it again, and then she goes behind the camera and then she pans the camera over to the doorway where he's going to walk in. He stops and then he looks like a deer in headlights. And then he's like, "Oh, he did it again." I like that shirt. I like that shirt. And then he's like, "Oh, so this." Oh, he goes, "Really?" And she's like, "Yeah." And then he goes, "So does pink mean girls?" "That's just a test." And it's like she's so pissed off about his reaction, but her reaction is just as stank as his is. I would have been like, "Cut, go back out the door and do it again." Her reaction is just as bad as his. She's like so pissed off. It's so weird. And that video is the video that got me hooked. I'm like, something's wrong here. Why wouldn't he be happy that his wife's pregnant? And why is she pissed off? Why does she sound so bothered? You don't see her face anymore. She's in the back of the camera, but you can hear it in her voice how mad she is. Which invitation? Of her or of her or Chris? I like that shirt. I like that shirt. We did it again. It's so staged. Oh my God. Yes, I think already knew. I think he knew. I just can't put my finger on it. Do you think that I don't know. I don't believe that she unalived herself and that she killed the children. I don't know why. I just don't believe that. I Yeah, if you're a mom, it is quite embarrassing. I mean, the way that she spoke to her children, the way that she spoke with her husband, and she did it in public. Could you imagine how she spoke with them when the camera was off? I mean, Jeremy Lindstrom said that he went to go and pick CW up to take him to the airport. And they couldn't leave because they couldn't leave until Chris cleaned the basement. What kind of shit is that? That's why I think that when she says my 3 kids, I think she's referring to Chris as being one of her children. She didn't see Chris as being an equal to her. She saw him as being beneath her. And so for you to say you can't go drop your friend off at the airport until you clean the basement, she's acting like his mom. No, no, Coco. It's okay. Shh, it's okay. It's just a doggy. It's all right. It's okay. And then, of course, my chair wants to creak really loud. It's, I mean, does that make any sense what I'm saying about like how she treated Chris like he was one of her children? He was just a prop for her videos. She used him for what she can get out of him. When she didn't have any use from him anymore, she went to North Carolina. She was always doing her. You know, it was all about her. She didn't put Chris or the 2 girls up top. They were always on the bottom. Even the baby. The baby wasn't thought about, apparently. You go and pay to have a 3D ultrasound done before you would go to Coco, before you would go and check to make sure that your baby is healthy. That doesn't make any sense to me. If I'm trying to bring a life into this world, that's as soon as I pee on that test and it says it's positive, I'm calling an OBGYN. And she's still wearing those thrive patches. Those thrive patches You're not supposed to wear them when you're pregnant. Coco, no, it's okay. The doggy can be outside. You're not the boss of everyone. Hey, she didn't check up on this baby. She just wanted to throw a gender reveal so she can put it on Facebook. That's what mattered to her. Attention being on her. She didn't want the attention for the kids. It was for her. Absolutely. She came first before anything else. Were the photos outside, scan place, or inside waiting? I think, from what I understand, that there's like surveillance of her and Chris walking from the parking lot into the ultrasound place. That's what I have heard. Um, Mia. Mia is also a really good creator, and she goes right from the discovery. And I believe she is the one that said that the person who owned the ultrasound boutique showed pictures of them walking from the outside. They captured them walking in the parking lot. That doesn't mean shit to me. Anybody could be walking anywhere. If you have an ultrasound done at a strip mall, I mean, doesn't mean that they went there. I mean, they could have went to the donut shop down the next door. I mean, I don't know. There's a third person in here. And whoever's here, I want everyone to be comfortable with talking. I used to sit back and just not participate in the conversation because I was afraid that someone was going to come for me. And that is not what's going to happen here, not on my channel. If you have an opinion that's different than mine, that is quite all right. That is how you can come up with your own opinion by looking at other people's perspective, and you make up your own opinion. So if there's anyone in here that wants to talk, please feel free to talk. No one is going to come for you, no matter what it is that you say. As long as you don't, if you don't say anything disrespectful, then we're cool here. Exactly. Exactly, Holly. Those ultrasounds are not cheap and they tell you no medical info. So, why? She could have gotten an ultrasound through her OBGYN had she gone to seek medical attention, especially when she allegedly was spotting and cramping in North Carolina. She could have gone to the emergency room and they would have done an ultrasound for her to make sure the baby was okay. But she didn't do any of that. One moment. My husband is coming in and my dog's going to start barking. One moment, please. Daddy's coming. He's coming. Don't cry. Oh boy, he's crying. I think this dog loves my husband more than he loves me. Speaking of dogs, even Dieter got on her nerves. Poor Dieter got on her nerves. Yeah, Shireen, there's no place like that in the UK. Well, they have these places all over where you can just get a picture of your baby. It doesn't tell you how big the baby is. Like when you go to the doctor and you have an ultrasound done, they measure the circumference of the baby's head. They can tell you more or less how big the baby is. But this one was specifically for a gender reveal. And that seems to be a trending thing that a lot of moms do. They want to get a really good picture of the baby, and they're crazy because you can really see the baby with these 4D ultrasounds. I mean, you really can see them. But you can get these done if you just go through the proper channels by going through your doctor. Hi, baby.
Oh, honey. You need water?
I'm drinking coffee.
Oh, okay.
Can you do me a favor? Can you turn on the heat a little bit for me?
Do what?
Can you turn the heat on a little bit for me?
What's your nice fleece?
1 second, please.
Oh,
Yeah.
no wonder you're cold.
So yeah, a lot of people that I know that have been pregnant recently, they go to their doctor and the doctor orders those 3D and 4D ultrasounds. When I was having children, we just got the black and white alien looking ultrasound. You had to really stare at the picture and hope and pray that you knew what you were looking at. But that ultrasound that she got wasn't done by a doctor. She had never gone for prenatal care. And you never saw her taking any prenatal vitamins. She was doing Thrive. That's what she was doing. Which, when you're pregnant, the doctor tells you to cut down your caffeine. Thrive's loaded with caffeine. I tried Thrive. I wanted to see what the big hype about it was. First of all, who the hell can afford that shit? It's $150 just for the 3-step program. That doesn't include balance. It doesn't include focus. It doesn't include pure. It doesn't include the pro bars. Just for the 2 pills, the shake, and the DFT is $150. Now remember, she had to buy it for herself and she had to buy it for Chris because they had 2 separate accounts. So now you're talking at a minimum $300. If you look at her table and she's doing the videos, she has an excess of thousands of dollars at any given moment where she's making these sample packages, the mini Thrive experiences that she's giving away at her expense. She's paying for the postage, the packaging, everything. You're not supposed to take that while you're pregnant. But you can see her wearing the black label during her pregnancy. Right. Exactly. Okay. NA didn't even take Thrive while she was pregnant. Go figure that one. NA didn't take it while she was pregnant. And she was pregnant shortly after the murders. She didn't take Thrive. Because it's not recommended for a pregnant woman, a woman who's breastfeeding. It's not recommended for people under 18. Really? Shireen, I never heard that. But you know what? I would believe that. Bella had a Thrive account. I would believe that. I know she had a Facebook account. So that's not far-fetched. Wow. You see, when you start speaking with other people, you can look at this case over and over and over again. You can comb through the discovery over and over again. And each time you do it, you'll learn something new. I never heard that she had a Thrive account, but I don't doubt it. I don't doubt that in the least. Her parents, how are you going to get a downline? You sign up, you make your husband sign up, and then she says, oh, Chris, he's selling his Thrive, he's getting more open. No, he wasn't selling anything. She was doing the selling for him. She ran his Facebook. So if you want to have a downline, you sign up, you have your husband sign up, probably have your kids sign up. And because all you need is an email address. I signed up for Thrive to check it out. All you need is an email address. They don't check to see if you're 18 or anything like that. You just need an email account. That's all you need. You could be Joe Schmo and have a Thrive account. So you have an account, your husband has an account. Let's say your two kids have an account, your mother and father have an account, your mother and father-in-law have an account, your sister-in-law has an account. Now I could see how she has a downline. And then they're all ordering, or she's ordering on their behalf. So it looks like she's a kick-ass salesperson. But no, she's just digging herself into a financial hole. Shireen, did you watch the Casey Anthony documentary on Peacock? Let me check YouTube here. All the family, both sides with Thrive account, heard that with Bella account too. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt that at all. She even has these pictures of, is it Cece in the 31 bags? She has Chris holding one of those horrible bags, and I believe Cece is inside the bag. Oh, you haven't seen the, there is a documentary on Casey Anthony. It's on Peacock. I actually had to subscribe to Peacock so I could watch it. It's pretty lengthy. It's about 3 episodes, but they're about 1.5 to 2 hours each episode. And again, Kaylee Anthony is lost, just like Bella and Cece. There's not a lot of talk about, well, for me, it seems like it was just a documentary to paint her as the victim, not the baby as a victim. And I see that that's what's happening with the Watts case, is that Shanann Watts is the victim, and Bella and Cece are not even part of the equation. Yes, she needed all the attention that she can get. And, she has this beautiful home. It looks like nobody even lives there, even the one in North Carolina. It was just for show. I mean, come on. Let's say you have chronic illnesses, right? Which I suffer from chronic pain. I have fibromyalgia and Sjogren's, and it's an inflammatory disease and an overactive nerve disease. And so when you're in pain, you're not going to have your house with 2 children spotless unless you have a maid. There are times that I do the laundry. I wash it, I fold it, I wash it, I dry it, I fold it, and it stays in the laundry basket because I don't feel well enough to put it away. Her house was like sterile. Like you can eat off the floor. It looked like it was a showroom. Even her closet. You ever see her shoe closet? It look and the shoe closet and the kids' bathroom, it looks like a Victoria's Secret closet. It was just like all for show. And Holly, the former nurse friend, her house looked like SW's house. She was mimicking the friend's house. Oh, Gabby Petito. That case is so strange as well. It's very, very strange. And right, makeup on always. That's one of the reasons why I haven't cammed up. I would scare everyone if I were to cam up. I would have to literally put my full face of makeup on. And she was always done up. She never looked like she was in pain. She never complained that she was in pain. Which is very strange because when you have chronic pain, even though you don't want to complain about it, you do. Like, there are some days that I wake up and I'm so stiff, and that's the first thing that comes out of my mouth. And no one's even there to even hear me. And I'm like, oh, I hurt. She was never in any pain. Never. Her house in North Carolina looked just like Hisham's house. I've never seen Hisham's house. Girl, tell me. Share. Did it look like Hisham's house? See, this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that she stole money from Hisham and Hisham was getting back at her. That's what I think. I think that's the reason why she had to run away and move to Colorado. And she didn't act like NK. She didn't go off the radar. She kept posting, saying where she lived. And if somebody's after you, you're just like, you're showing the inside of your house, the outside of your house. You're telling them where you live. You're posting your locations. So it didn't make any sense to me why she would do that. I did not know. Right. The neighbors didn't even know that the children lived there because they were never home. They were never home. They were at Daycare. As soon as the parents moved out, that's when they started going to daycare. 9, 10 hours a day. And then you feed them, give them their baths, turn on the super loud rain machines, and send them to bed. Deal with them. Exactly. Exactly. She never had to cancel any trips. Oh, where'd your comment go? I just lost it. Never had to cancel trips because of pain or a flare. Never, never, never. She went to those concerts. They went to a Metallica concert. They went to Bruno Mars concert. Everything. I can never make plans because I never know how I'm going to feel. And if I do make plans, sometimes I might have to cancel. More times than not, I will have to cancel. Because you don't know. Anything can trigger a flare up. It can be the cold. From what I understand, it gets super cold in Colorado. The cold can make you flare up. It could be what you eat. Like, I love carbs. Carbs, sugar is terrible for somebody who has inflammation. That's why they have those anti-inflammatory diets. If you have Sjogren's, if you have fibromyalgia, if you have lupus, celiac disease, you should not eat a lot of the things that she was eating. And I'm sorry, I like food too much, so I guess I'll just have pain because I'm not disciplined when it comes to food. But she just wouldn't pick up and just get on an airplane. I mean, sitting. Do you guys know that after she had this neck surgery, she went on a road trip with CM from Hawaii? I just started taking long drives with my husband. My husband loves driving. And the longest that I've been in the car was about 2 hours. And that's recently because they changed some of my medication. So it's a little bearable. Who the hell's going to have neck surgery and then start driving to go on a road trip? That doesn't even make sense because the roads are bumpy, you're healing, you're going through different types of weather. I mean, just the healing process alone. When I had my hysterectomy, I had 36 staples in my abdomen. The ride home from the hospital was unbearable, and it was only about 10 minutes. I think every bump was magnified for me. I felt every bump in the road. I was so uncomfortable. I've never seen the house side by side. I need to look that up. Oh, Unjustified? I love Unjustified's channel. I love Kim's channel. She's such a sweet woman. Now you're going to send me down another rabbit hole. You see this? Wow. Yeah, listen, she didn't cancel anything for health issues for herself or for her children. And the narrative that they want you to go by is that Chris is a monster, right? But CM from Hawaii, her friend, left her own daughter with Chris while they went on a road trip. But yet everybody wants to concentrate on the Thayers. Oh my God, they let Chris sleep down the hall from their daughter. But yet she left her kid with him so he can babysit while they went off on a road trip. Yeah, that trip after the neck surgery. That makes no sense. You know what? I don't know why CM didn't think that any of this was a little odd. Uh, she is just as knee deep into this MLM as SW was. Neck surgery. Neck surgery says no caffeine-based products for 3 weeks. I looked it up. Plus the scars in the wrong place. You know what? I I don't I'm not really believing this neck surgery thing. I know she posted it the day before she was going to have neck surgery, and she said Bella's been holding her neck for weeks. That's freaking terrible to put that on your children. She made a post the day before her surgery, and then she had Chris post the day of her surgery, and then she posted the day after thanking people for the flowers. But you never heard anything building up to the neck surgery. You never saw anything after the surgery. You saw her posing with that neck brace a couple of times, but if you see her on that road trip, she has no neck brace. There's no physical therapy. There's nothing. And she puts everything on Facebook. Are you talking about the blog, the curious case of Christopher Watts? Is that what it's called? I have to go back and reread that too, because every time I read it, I find something different that didn't stand out to me before. But it just doesn't make any sense that you're going to go ahead and go on a road trip right after you have major surgery, and you're going to go on this road trip without your neck brace, and you're going on this road trip to go and promote Thrive, because that's what it was for. I think that she wore that neck brace when it was convenient for her. Because half the time, I think there was one time that she was making sample packets, and she's got the neck brace on, face full of makeup. And she's put her hair in a ponytail. Now, I've had injections in my neck, and when you're stiff in the neck, especially after some surgery, you're not going to be moving your head around like that and throwing your hair up in a ponytail. I mean, she swings her hair back and puts it in a ponytail. She puts her head down and grabs her hair and whatever. That just doesn't seem like somebody who had just had surgery. It just doesn't make any sense. Yes, The Curious Case of Christopher Watts. Yes. I have that saved. I gotta go back and reread it again. Yeah. And I think, you know what? I think that the two CMs in this case, the male in North Carolina and the female in Hawaii, I think those are the only ones that look like they're fit. But I honestly don't think that it's Thrive that's keeping them fit. They work out a lot. She is really big on weightlifting. She was kind of heavy set. And then she started working out and working out and working out. And she eats healthy. Look at the rest of the Thrive bunch. They're all overweight. Thrive doesn't do anything but make you hyper. That's all it does. I don't think that any of them are making money on Thrive, especially in this economy. No, they are not making. Well, honestly, I think that CM from Hawaii and NA are making money because they're doing it while still speaking about the murders. And so people are inquisitive by nature. And so that's the reason why I ordered the Thrive. I wanted to know what the hell was this big deal about this product. So I think that people will sign up for Thrive under CM or NA because it gives you a direct link to them. All you got to do is private message them. And you want to learn the scoop about something? Buy some Thrive from them. CM Shireen, I heard CM's not in it now. Don't know if it's true. CM the guy, I don't know if CM in North Carolina is in Thrive anymore. I don't see it. I don't see him on there. I don't see Cassie on there. You still see CM from Hawaii's on it. NA is on it. NA's son Nick was selling it at one point. He stopped selling it. Addie Maloney is still selling it. Yeah, I don't think that he's selling Thrive anymore either. I think he's just stuck to his real estate. NA does use SW to sell Thrive. Seen on Facebook many times. She's not long posted about car bonus. I saw that. Yeah. Yeah, because do you remember when SW did a live that NA got the car bonus? And then she's crying. Oh, every time she cries, I just want to punch her. So she's crying and she's like, I hate you. Well, she didn't get the car bonus. The husband got the car bonus because she signed her husband up too, NA. So the husband got the car and she was riding around that Dodge Dart. So now she's got a car bonus. Yeah, because people are buying Thrive because they want to be nosy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Saying SW should be here to pick a car out. She uses that woman anytime she can. She was even doing some lipstick the other day, some lip gloss. One of her fellow Thrivers is selling an MLM. It's a lip gloss that's supposed to stay on for like 24 hours. And she goes and puts it on. And she says that SW wore that lipstick all the time and that she would make fun of her. But every video that I saw SW putting lipstick on, it was from Unique. and it was an actual lipstick, not a lip gloss. She throws her name in there anytime she can to get the attention so people can buy off of her. And then, of course, what does she do? She calls her young daughter, the young daughter that was running all over the house when she thought that her friend was laying there dead or injured or passed out. She has that young daughter come in and use her as another prop so she can kiss her to show her that the lipstick doesn't transfer onto your skin. Like you could have easily kissed yourself on your hand and shown the world that there was no lipstick transfer. You could have used a piece of paper. I do it all the time. When I put lipstick on, I take a little tissue and I put it in between my lips to get the excess off. I mean, no, but she had to call her kid in there because, what better way to sell some bullshit than by bringing your kids in? CM has her daughter drinking shakes, and Thrive has like a skin line. She has her doing masks and stuff. I'm gonna put that shit on my baby's face. It's oh, I don't get it. I don't get it. And NA, if somebody else tells me that NA was her best friend, I'm gonna like flip because that lady was so jealous of SW. It wasn't even funny. When she's having that police interview and the cop asks her, do the kids go to daycare all the time? She's like, yeah, well, I wish I could afford to have my kids in daycare all the time. They only go like once a week or twice a week, but she brings them every day because, I wish I could afford it. And I used killing sale for Thrive same week. Yes, she sure did. I think it wasn't even 8 hours that they were missing, and she was posting on her Instagram about the next getaway trip and who wanted to accompany her to the next getaway. She doesn't give a shit about SW or those girls. If you look at her Instagram page, she's all over the R's, mostly the father. You don't ever see her shouting out Mama Roo when she used to work for her. She's always shouting out Senior, how much we love you. Pop Pop. She calls him Pop Pop. You fucking kidding me? It is creepy as heck. It's so wild. And Nate and his mother didn't even live there and she wrote a freaking book. What the hell does she know? Nate didn't even know those people. Right. And I got Cece's age wrong when the cops turned up for the welfare check. She said 2 and 4. Yes. Then she said, when they asked her how old is she said, oh, in her 20s or 30s. Well, did you know that NA got married on July 4th? While SW was in North Carolina. SW has no problem traveling all over the damn place for a Thrive convention. Why couldn't she come back home to participate in her best, and I'm doing air quotes here when I say best friend, why didn't she come back home to be in her best friend's wedding? She didn't even post anything on Facebook congratulating her best friend on her nuptials. That doesn't sound weird. And then how does NA's son know so much about SW's family life? Like he's standing on the porch and Officer Coonrod is like, well, does she have any parents? Her parents around here? Oh, they don't get along. How the hell does he know that shit? And why is a 16-year-old involved in all this stuff? It just doesn't make any sense. Wow, guys, we've been talking for 3 hours. I love it. It'd have been nice if we can get our whole crew up here. Like Green Eyed Bandit, Special K, Hot Hand Radio, Tabitha Jane. We've been talking in so many people's chats for so many years. Right. No congratulations. No, nothing. Nothing at all. And when I saw her wedding pictures, she had a nice little wedding. But SW nor the girls were a part of it. Not even in the smallest part to even wish them, like a congratulations post. Nothing. They didn't know each other. The most they knew about each other was that they both sold Thrive. That's it. She got NA to sell Thrive. That's it. She didn't know why she had neck surgery. She didn't know anything about the allergies. I think that she just knew everything that Mama Ru was feeding her on the phone. You think that you guys think that CW will talk? I hope so. I hope so because if he's protecting NK, let's say that he hasn't said anything because he's protecting NK. She changed her name. She's nowhere around. So why not? I don't know why he's staying quiet. He knows something. He knows something because he knew where the bodies were. So he knows something. Do I believe that there was somebody else there? Absolutely. And I think that NA and her son were inside that house because, oh, she saw the shoes by the door. But if you look at the shoes, the picture of the shoes, the flip flops, the picture was taken from the inside of the house, not from the outside of the house. And if you went to your best friend's house and saw her flip flops there, you're going to start like acting like you're on an episode of 48 Hours or you're on an Investigation Discovery Channel, and you're going to start automatically taking pictures. And the first thing she tells detectives is, I didn't touch anything. Oh, or I tried not to touch anything. Like she knew something. And honey, she and her son were touching everything. She even told her little baby, go in the house. He's in the house. Oh, but if you don't trust him, you think that he's killing someone. Why would you let your baby go in the damn house with a murderer? I don't know. I hope that he does say something. Notice how Ronnie Watts has not gotten that cell phone back. There's something in that phone that will probably break this case wide open, and they will not give him that phone back. It doesn't make sense. I hope he talks though. He's real stupid sitting there and just, some people say that he's doing his time because he didn't protect the children. So many things were going on that he should have seen and he didn't. So it could be that he feels guilty and he's punishing himself. I don't know. I know I wouldn't be sitting behind bars for something that I didn't do. I would be screaming as loud as I could until somebody listened to me. I wouldn't just, just say, okay, well, yeah, whatever. And he doesn't even know how everyone was unalived. Like he said, I I strangled her and like you said, her eyes filled up with blood. So that means that they were telling him what to say. Like you said, their eyes were filled with blood. Her eyes were not filled with blood because once your heart stops pumping, if your eyes are bloodshot, they will remain bloodshot. It doesn't go away because you die. She would still have petechiae eye, and she didn't have any. Right. I don't know. She probably had like 10,000 pairs of those flip flops and they said that she loved those flip flops so much that she would order them over and over again. So what if the flip flops were by the door? She even made a big stink about the kids' water shoes being on the back porch. Yeah, they were on the back porch because they had just went to a birthday party at the Lindstroms. They had a balloon fight, a water balloon fight, and they got wet. So he put the shoes out there so they can dry. Whoa, big crime. Or since when did it become illegal to back up your own truck in your own driveway to load things into? Do you see him loading a body? Hell no. Especially a pregnant body, okay? A pregnant person that is no longer living. It's dead weight. And I tried this with my husband's truck. I took a case of water and I put it in the back of the truck. And you know what happened? The truck moved. It kind of like bounced a little bit. So you're going to take a dead body and you're going to go from one side and you put it in. Now, she's not helping you. She's not, backing her own body into the truck. So you're going to have to put it in on one side and you're going to have to walk around the other side and pull it through because it's just a limp body. You don't see any movement in the truck at all. Like there was anything of substantial weight that was being put in there. Now, I could move a truck with a case of water. Now she was about 145, 147 pounds. You have no one helping you. She's not helping you. So it's all dead weight. There's no way you're sticking that body in the truck and the truck's not moving. It just doesn't make sense. And that is like the thing that cracked the whole case open. They saw him loading bodies and then they go to Dodge. Oh, were the girls alive? Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. So we're going to believe him just because he said that. Like, how do you pick and choose what to believe with him? Obviously, he's a liar. So you just like throw them all up in the air. It's like spaghetti. You just throw it up against the wall and see what will stick. All right, guys, I'm going to get off of here because I have to start cooking dinner for my husband. And I don't want to ignore him much more. He just came home. So I hope you guys have a wonderful Sunday. And I hope to be back on soon. But if you want, my email address is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. It's objectionoverruled2@gmail.com. And help me out by giving a thumbs up or down. And if you have any questions or anything that you want to talk about, email me or leave it on my community page. I am very easy to get a hold of, and I would love to speak with you guys. It's 9 p.m. where you are. Oh, wow. Yeah. What time is it here? It's 4 o'clock here. 4:11. Yes, that Dodge trip was very, very weird. And that's one thing that I don't understand is after the case is closed, he's already taken a plea. Why did the detective Baumhover, Agent Tammy Lee, and Agent Graham Coder fly to Wisconsin to record him without him knowing to try to get another confession out of him when the case is already closed? You know what they said at the end? This is for the R's. No one's going to hear this. It's just to give them closure. There's how the R's are controlling the narrative. How the hell do you get a CBI agent, an FBI agent, and a detective to fly out there on whose dime? It's got to be the taxpayer's dime. To fly out there to talk about a case that's already been closed so you can get another confession. That even if he told you, I have Joe Schmo did it, it doesn't matter because what was on the record is that the murders happened at the house. You can't have 25 different crime scenes and 25 different ways of a death. You can murder children twice, like he murdered them and they woke up and then they both were alive again and then he had to murder them again. Like, who the fuck believes that? Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm cursing. That shit drives me crazy. You can't murder someone more than once. They cannot be murdered in different crime scenes. It just doesn't make sense. So I'm going to get off of here. Thank you guys for joining me on this chat. Thank you so much for not leaving me here talking about myself because it gets really awkward. I'm still trying to I don't know how a lot of creators do it. They sit here and they talk and stuff, and I feel so weird, like I'm talking to myself. Yes, I agree. I agree. He needs to tell how what happened, and that Dodge prison interview, if you listen to it, it's like they're leading him. They'll ask him a question, and before he could even answer it, they're answering the question. There's a lot of areas in that audio that's cut off, that doesn't make sense. They'll be talking about one thing, and then you hear a cut in the audio, and then he's talking about something else. So I think that it was manipulated to fit their narrative. So I'm going to try to get back on here later on tonight. Shireen, I'm sorry. It's 9 o'clock. So by the time I get back on later on, you'll probably be sleeping. But I will try to get on later if I can. And maybe we can have a chat again. And you can bring your friends on over so we can have a bigger chat. All right, guys, I'm logging off for now. Thank you so much for chatting with me about the case that we love to hate and the case we hate to love. But I mean, until we get some answers, I think this case will forever be talked about. Happy Sunday, guys. Thanks for joining me. Okay, my computer is frozen. I just froze. Oh, that's why. Okay. Bye, guys.